Okay, I've got 2 smoothies here today. Now, most people when I say green smoothies or have greens with your smoothies, the reaction I get is like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That's disgusting. So I just want to make you some samples and show you that it can be really easy and really delicious. And you can use for your greens, you can use any type of greens. So romaine lettuce, spinach, kale. I find that romaine lettuce is like the least pungent of a taste, so you can put that in your smoothie without noticing it as much. Spinach is also a really mild flavored green that you can put in your smoothie. And I was going to bring some today, and somehow that got lost during the trip, so we're going to use romaine today. And if kale and chard they have a higher nutrition density, meaning they have more nutrition per calorie of green, but they have a really, really strong flavor. So a lot of times it doesn't go well if you put those in smoothies. It works well for like a savory dish in the evening instead of a breakfast meal.
If I use kale or chard, I just found I have to do it with pineapple.
Yeah.
And if I do pineapple, they taste delicious. But if I don't do pineapple and use one of those 2 greens, then it's just too bitter.
Yes.
So that's just
great. Yeah, thank you for that comment. Pineapple is a good way to cut the flavor. Yeah.
Vinegar and honey is really good too.
Very good.
With some onions, just kind of salty.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about, the savory dishes. She said vinegar and honey and with some onions with the kale and the chard. That's what I was talking about, the savory dish. Like if you can cook it with a little bit of garlic or a little bit of coconut oil, that really helps to make it so it's more palatable. And mostly I was talking about smoothies, but yeah, that's a great point. Thank you. So the first one we're going to make here is, okay, I'm here. All right. So we're just going to do a banana smoothie, a banana chocolate smoothie. So I've frozen some bananas, and that's something else you can do with those bananas that you get at the store for cheap that are really inexpensive and ripe. I'm going to put in some raw cocoa powder. Now, cocoa powder, along with the other foods we're talking about in this class, it's really important to get raw cocoa powder that hasn't been processed. And when you get the non-processed cocoa powder, this is also a superfood, meaning the nutrition per calorie is higher than most other foods you're going to eat. So if you compare raw cocoa powder, let's say with broccoli, it's actually got more nutrition, more vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and that type of stuff in the raw cocoa powder than even some of your vegetables. So putting raw cocoa powder in your smoothies in the morning is a good way to kind of like get you going, get your metabolism going, and also get lots of nutrition. A lot of people ask, well, if I'm not eating all the animal products I'm used to eating, how do I get protein? And one good source of protein is hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are almost a complete protein. They have almost all of the amino acids you need in there. They're the most complete protein that you can get in a plant food. And they have kind of a nutty flavor to them, so I usually mix them with bananas and chocolate and things that the nutty flavor will go well with. And they're also really soft, so you can blend them up without noticing very well. When I mention to people that they can put hemp seeds in their smoothies or whatever, they usually just go like this and go like, okay, there's my hemp seeds for the day. If this is going to be your protein source for the day, you need to put enough in. So I usually use at least a 1/4 cup of hemp seeds in my smoothie, and that will give you a solid dose of protein that will it will mitigate any sugar you put in there. When you mix protein and fat with your sugars, meaning your bananas and your honey and that type of stuff, the protein and the fat helps to slow down the release of insulin and slow down the way that the sugar is released. So by putting the protein and the fat in there, it helps to make you feel full longer, it helps to satiate you, gives you the protein, and it also helps to like level out your blood sugar levels if that's a problem for you. Okay, and I'm also, because raw cocoa powder is pretty bitter compared to, like, if you're a milk chocolate eater, you're going to taste the raw cocoa powder and think, But if you like dark chocolate or the 70% chocolate, this is what it's going to taste like. So usually when I put cocoa powder in, you either have to put a lot of ripe bananas in or maybe a teaspoon or so of honey, and that'll just help to cut the bitterness of the raw cocoa powder. And also when you mix the superfoods of cocoa powder and raw honey, that is an amazing health tonic. I also put in a little bit of coconut oil, and what this does is add that healthy fat that has the lauric acid content. Helps you, coconut oil actually helps you to utilize any vitamin E that's in your recipe a lot better. So there's lots of health benefits associated with that, as well as it makes the milkshake or the smoothie kind of creamy and more dense and more filling. And then this is rice milk that I'm using, but usually I use the almond milk in here. Oh, sorry, say that again?
How much of coconut milk and the almond milk? Coconut oil and almond milk.
Okay, with smoothies, here's how it goes. You put in how much fruit you've got, and then you put in a sprinkle of cocoa powder and stuff, and then you just put in enough to make it mix. So I put in maybe a half cup or 3/4 of a cup, but it depends. If you have a lot of frozen bananas and they're frozen hard, you're going to have to put in more liquid than if you've got just ripe bananas that aren't frozen. So just put some in. The beautiful thing about smoothies is you really can't mess them up. So just put what you think in, and then taste it, and then revise your plan. And with smoothies, it's all about using what you have in your kitchen and just making something really fast. So I don't like to, when people ask me, well, how do you make smoothies? I don't like to give them a recipe like 1 cup of this and 2 cups of this and a teaspoon of this, because then it's really stressful and like, oh, I don't have that. I got to go to the store for that. That's not what smoothies are about. Smoothies are about finding what's in your cupboard, throwing it in the blender, tasting it, adding whatever you need to make it taste good, and that's what smoothies are about. So just play with it and you'll get used to it, and then it'll be fun because then you can be really creative in the kitchen and make something different every time. Okay, so that made the base. And then we're going to throw in some greens. One moment. Forgot vanilla. Whenever you use chocolate and honey and bananas, vanilla goes really well together with that. All right, now here's how we use the greens. Now, ideally speaking, you want to get at least a pound of dark leafy greens into your diet every day. And a lot of people ask me, well, how the heck am I supposed to do that? If you put a little bit of greens in your smoothie in the morning, you have a salad at lunch, and you have a salad at dinner, that's easy. You can get a pound of greens, dark leafy greens, into your diet every day. It's just a matter of being strategic about it and remembering that you have to do that, and then need more hands here. All right. So if I was just having the chocolate banana smoothie, this would be perfect, and I just pour it out and taste and drink it like this. Since I'm going to put some greens in, I'm going to add a little bit more liquid here. I'm going to throw in some greens. And actually, when I do the chocolate recipe, you can put in spinach and you don't even notice the flavor, just because the chocolate is such a dense flavor. Okay, the beautiful thing about a Vitamix is it'll blend anything up into a liquid. So it doesn't matter what you put in there, it's going to come out nice and creamy when you're done. All right, I'm just going to taste this because you guys are going to have this as samples, and I want to make sure it's good. One moment. So here we go. You can't even taste the greens in there. Okay, it's really good. It tastes nutty, like the hemp seeds. You got the banana, you got the chocolate. It's really tasty. So Perry's going to take this around and let you guys taste that.
Do you soak seeds?
Hemp seeds you don't have to soak, so it depends on which seeds. So pumpkin seeds, yes. Sunflower seeds, yes. Sesame seeds, it's a toss-up. Hemp seeds you don't have to. Pardon?
I don't need like crunchy almonds.
Oh Oh yes. So if you have a dehydrator, what you do is you soak your almonds, rinse them, and then you put them in the dehydrator and just dry them until they're crunchy again. And then you've dissolved all the enzyme inhibitors and phytic acid off of them. If you don't have a dehydrator, the second best option is to soak them and then put them in your oven at the very lowest temperature on a baking sheet and just dry them out that way. They'll last a lot longer and they'll be better for you if you can dehydrate them. So I'd highly recommend dehydrator first, if not just whatever's the lowest temperature in your oven, and that'll make them nice and crispy. Another thing you can do with your nuts and almonds after you soak them is after they're done soaking, while they're still a little bit damp, just mix in a tiny bit of honey and a tiny bit of salt and cinnamon, whatever flavor you want to do. Mix it in, and then when you dry them, they turn out into candied nuts. And if you think crunchy almonds by themselves are delicious, the candied nuts are even better. And it's just a matter of just dumping in a little tiny bit of honey and cinnamon and salt, and it makes them really, really fabulous. Yes?
I soaked cashews and rinsed them, but I had more than I was going to use for a recipe. So I put them in the refrigerator. How long are they going to be good for? Or
A day or two.
Okay.
You can freeze them if you want to do that. And the freezing will mess up the texture a little bit, so if you're going to blend them or something, it doesn't matter. But yeah, freezing works better. Nuts, after you soak them, a day or two in the fridge. But then once you dry them or toast them, then they'll last for a week or two. Okay. So what we're gonna do next is a berry smoothie with a different source of protein in there. So I've got a frozen mixed berries. And we can just throw our greens in there right now. Okay. And okay, so we've got frozen berries, your greens, and I've put macadamia nuts in here because people ask me, well, how do you make your stuff creamy? Like if more normally people put yogurt into their smoothies or milk or scoop of ice cream, something like that. And this is a way to make your smoothie really creamy, as if you're putting ice cream or yogurt or some dairy in there. And also it adds a lot of protein. Macadamia nuts have a really good profile for your healthy oils. So I just put some macadamia nuts in there. And then here's some chia seeds. Now, chia seeds are the same things you put on those little chia pets, and it grows hair out of the little chia pets. But what most people don't know about the beauty of chia seeds is that athletes that are on raw food and they need protein to build their muscles, they use chia seeds as their main source of protein for bodybuilding and weightlifting and for their athletic stuff. So chia seeds have a really, really amazing amino acid profile. They've got full spectrum amino acids in there. They also have a lot of omega-3 oils in them, which are really good for your heart and your...
Did you soak those?
Yes, so what you have to do with chia seeds is they will soak up, I think it's 25 times their weight in water. So with chia seeds, if you just eat them dry or put them in your smoothie dry, they're just going to soak up any moisture that's available, whether it's in your intestines or your stomach or your smoothie. So what you need to do before you use chia seeds is you soak them in 1 part chia seeds and then 4, 5, 6 parts of water, and you soak that for 15 minutes, stir it or shake it as it's soaking, and it turns into a gel like that. And then you use that gel in your recipes. So make sure you don't eat your chia seeds dry. Soak them first, make them into the gel, and then you can use them in anything. Now, because the berries are kind of tart, like for instance, if this was a recipe with peaches, I wouldn't have to put honey in because peaches are really sweet. But because there's like raspberries and stuff in there that are kind of tart, I'm going to add a little bit of extra sweetener in there. It's a teaspoon of honey. I think most people find that as they do these green smoothies more often, a couple things happen. They don't need stuff to be as sweet, so our taste buds have been conditioned to like really sweet, really salty, really fatty foods. And as you start eating healthier, you'll find that you just don't need that anymore. So you'll find that maybe at the beginning you'll need to add in more honey and more sweet stuff and less greens because you're not used to the flavor. But as you're making these smoothies every day or as often as you can, you'll find that you can put in more greens and you don't mind the flavor so much, and you can put in less sweetener and it tastes just as good for you, or just as good to you. So just go by your taste, go by what your body is asking for. If you need to add in a little extra sweetener, great. But just know that as you alkalize your body, as you start eating healthier, as you're detoxifying all that crap you've been eating for years out of your body, your tastes are going to change and you're going to be satisfied with healthier, less sweet, less salty, less fatty foods. And you're going to be able to tolerate the flavor of greens and that type of stuff a little bit better. Now this is just 100% juice. You just get it at the health food store. Make sure there's no additives or anything in there. The only thing in here is water and 100% fruit juice. If you have a juicer and you juice, it's going to be even better for you if you can put your homemade juice in there. Make sure that when you buy juice, you're not buying juice cocktail. Read the ingredients really carefully. Make sure there's no flavor additives or color additives or flavor enhancers. Here's something that a lot of people don't know. When you're reading the ingredients, if it says natural flavors on there, like a lot of the 100% juices that you find at the store, it'll say like apple juice, grape juice, water, and natural flavors. That natural flavors is just chemicals to boost the flavor, and so you're putting chemicals into your body if that's on the label. So throw all that in there. Generally, when I make my smoothies, I put like 2 or 3 times as much greens in there as I'm putting in with you. I'm just breaking you guys in slowly, but the more greens you can eat per day, the better you're going to feel, the more nutrient-dense food you're going to get into you, the more your disease prevention powers are going to be coming to you. So normally if I do romaine, I put a whole head of romaine into my smoothie. And if I do spinach, like I'll fill up half the blender with berries and stuff, and then the other half of the blender with spinach. So put as much as you can in, but be aware that you might have to start with a little and then increase it.
Is that a serving for you?
So for me, I'm a full-time student, a single parent, and I work. And last year I was working in a hospital. I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, drive to Salt Lake, work a 12 or 13-hour day, drive back, and who's hungry at 4 o'clock in the morning? Not me, right? And so I would make a full blender full of smoothie, and I got an insulated thermos that carried the whole thing, and I would just make that, and I would just sip on it during the day, and that would be my breakfast and first, pre-lunch. And then by the time I got through that, I'd gotten my 15 servings of fruits, vegetables, and greens in during the day, and then I was, ready for lunch after that. So for me, I usually do the whole blender full, and then I put it in an insulated thermos and take it with me wherever I go. But it just depends on your appetite and how much you can eat and how much you want. So you could probably put twice that many greens in there and it still would taste great. Okay, so this is called intuitive cooking. So you do what you think you need to do, taste it, and then modify it from there. I'm going to put in a little tiny bit more honey because the raspberries are really tart. Give it a little whirl. I think I'm going to put in a little bit of vanilla as well. Now this one has kind of a nutty flavor because of the macadamia nuts, so if you don't like the nutty flavor, you can just put in the chia seeds or put in something else. Some people like their smoothies more fruity, some people like them more nutty. You can put in almonds, you can put in walnuts, you can put in any type of nut or seed or protein source that you like, and just get creative. Okay, I think we're good. So, I did a lot of talking while I was making this, but in reality, you can make these smoothies in 5 minutes. It's just a matter of putting all your frozen stuff in there, putting your juice in there, and thinking ahead. Remember, with your nuts and your seeds, you have to have them soaked. So generally, I always have a little jar of soaked chia seeds in my fridge all the time. Here, you guys can serve that up. And then my chia seeds are ready whenever I need. Generally, I have some type of soaked nuts in my fridge at all times. I always have frozen fruit in the freezer. I have frozen bananas in the freezer. So really, like at any time when I'm hungry and I need something sweet or something filling or a quick meal, all you have to do is just grab your stuff, throw it in the blender, and it's a 5-minute meal. It's really easy.